Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for calling this hearing. Since January, Donald Trump has used the full power of the federal government to attack Americans in cities across the country. In Donald Trump's America, you are at increased risk of experiencing militaristic operations in your home.
All right, buckle up, buttercups, because we're diving headfirst into a scorching take from Representative Jasmine Crockett. She's not just throwing shade, she's building an entire solar eclipse over Donald Trump's presidency, calling it an autocracy machine. Get ready, because she's about to lay out a case that's less about policy disagreements and more about fundamental principles of governance. Let's see if her arguments hold water, or if they're just hot air. Here we go.
Increased risk of being subject to detainment by mass thugs and wannabe vigilantes. Increased risk of suffering injuries due to reckless and illegal acts by rogue federal agents. Increased risk of being deported to foreign nations, even if you are an American citizen. And you're at an increased risk of being targeted by federal government for criticizing the president and his friends. Congressional Republicans have completely abandoned their Article I powers and have exchanged their responsibility to their constituents with appeal to the president.
Whoa, hold on a minute. Increased risk of suffering injuries due to reckless and illegal acts by rogue federal agents? Deported to foreign nations, even if you are an American citizen? That's some pretty heavy stuff. It's not just a critique. It's an accusation of a foundational breakdown in civil liberties and due process. This isn't your average political squabble. This is a direct challenge to the very idea of a democratic government. She's painting a picture of a presidency that actively undermines the rights of its own citizens. That's a stark warning, and frankly, it sounds less like "Make America Great Again," and more like "Make America Great." For some people, maybe, if they don't question anything.
They have allowed the president to morph federal agencies into instruments of autocracy. And as a result, the president has been able to ignore federal law, disregard court orders, and implement the largest pay-for-play scheme in American history. The White House, well, what's left of it anyway, is literally up for sale. The federal courts have characterized this presidency as, quote, lawless. In fact, when ruling against illegal acts committed by the administration, a Republican-appointed federal judge stated, quote, "The court cannot imagine how the public interest might be served by permitting federal officials to flaunt the very laws they have sworn to enforce." In a separate case where the administration was sued for unlawful acts, the judge, also a Republican appointee, stated, quote, "Allowing constitutional rights to be dependent upon the grace of the executive branch would be a dereliction of duty by this third and independent branch of government and would be against the public interest." But in another case, the court summed it up perfectly by declaring, quote, "As is becoming far too common, we are confronted again with the efforts of the executive branch to set aside the rule of law in pursuit of its own goals." Judiciary Committee Republicans have been completely complicit in this corruption. But since they're so interested in restoring law and order, I have a couple of suggestions on where they can start. Number one, this is the President of the United States standing beside his best friend, Jeffrey Epstein. As we all know, Mr. Epstein is one of the most notorious sexual predators in American history. For 8 weeks, the Republicans on this committee have chosen to protect these two men instead of providing justice to Mr. Epstein's victims. Now the administration is panicking. First, they campaigned on releasing the Epstein files. Then H. Bondi and Associates did a photo op with the files, and she said, and I quote, "The Epstein list is on my desk." Then somehow, the Epstein list didn't exist. Then the Epstein files became a Democratic hoax. Now the president is supposedly supportive of releasing the files, even though he's currently ignoring a congressional subpoena to do so. Now the president is simply crashing out. And it's because he can't seem to explain his special decades-long relationship with one of the most prominent sexual predators in American history. It's already public that he's in the Epstein files, but his administration is hiding the context of his involvement, if any, with Mr. Epstein's horrific crimes. Now, this is Miss Ghislaine Maxwell. Miss Maxwell, who obviously helped Jeffrey Epstein traffic more than 1,000 women and girls, Well, Donald Trump is now giving her special treatment while she's serving out her prison sentence. He won't even rule out giving her a pardon or commuting her sentence. I don't need to explain why pardoning sex traffickers wouldn't be restoring law and order. Now,
Okay, let's just marinate in that for a second. Pardoning sex traffickers wouldn't be restoring law and order. Talk about a mic drop. This isn't just a hypocrisy, it's a moral chasm. For a party that constantly bangs the drum about law and order, the idea of even considering a pardon for someone like Ghislaine Maxwell is beyond baffling. It's like saying you're a vegetarian while chowing down on a steak. It completely undermines any claim to upholding justice and protecting the vulnerable. It makes you wonder whose order they're actually trying to restore, and for whose benefit.
this is Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. Not only has Secretary Noem been busy filming propaganda ads, she's also been busy cashing in on millions of taxpayer dollars. In fact, Secretary Noem has funneled millions of dollars to a company called the Strategy Group. The Strategy Group helped Secretary Noem win her campaign to become the governor of South Dakota. Corey Lewandowski, her top policy advisor, has worked with the firm, and the company's CEO is married to Secretary Noem's chief spokesperson, Mrs. Tricia McLaughlin. This is what corruption looks like. They're stealing money from the American people's pockets and depositing it into their bank accounts. This is the so-called border czar, Tom Homan. Mr. Homan is on tape accepting $50,000 in cash bribes stuffed in a brown paper bag from an undercover FBI agent. Apparently, Mr. Homan accepted these bribes in exchange for awarding federal contracts to his friends. Trump's Department of Justice killed the investigation into Mr. Homan's crimes, and congressional Republicans didn't say a mumbling word. Lastly, this is insurrectionist and Nazi sympathizer Ed Martin. It appears that Mr. Martin is functioning as the Associate Deputy Attorney General, Pardon Attorney, Director of the Fake Weaponization Working Group, and Special Attorney for Mortgage Fraud. All that means is that Mr. Martin is Trump's lapdog, whom the president sends to initiate lawsuits against the president's perceived political opponents. This is what we call organized crime. They're breaking the law, often by stealing taxpayer dollars, covering up their crimes by ending and obstructing investigations, then prosecuting people who call out their unlawful behavior. And while the Republicans are encouraging this corruption, they're abandoning actual victims of violent crime and ignoring the Republican-led state's 21st century murder crisis. In September's appropriation markup,
And there it is, folks, the ultimate rhetorical jujitsu. After years of Republicans hammering Democrats with the defund the police slogan, Representative Crockett flips the script and says they're literally doing it. Cutting FBI staff, slashing ATF resources, eliminating violence prevention grants. That's not just ironic. It's a masterclass in projection. It exposes the gaping chasm between their tough-on-crime rhetoric and their actual budgetary actions. It's almost like law and order is a convenient talking point until it means actually funding the institutions that uphold it. What a plot twist.
Congressional Republicans propose reducing the FBI staff by thousands of positions and underfunding the agency by more than $1 billion. They've proposed slashing resources from the ATF. They've proposed cutting grants for juvenile justice programs and hate crimes and eliminating the community violence intervention and prevention grants. They're literally defunding the police. So no matter what they say at today's hearing, congressional Republicans have proven that they are not investing in keeping American communities safe from violent crime.
Woo. Representative Crockett pulled no punches, laying out a comprehensive and frankly chilling case against the Trump administration and its allies. From alleged autocratic moves to financial corruption, and even a shocking twist on defunding the police, she covered a lot of ground. It's a stark reminder that political rhetoric often hides a very different reality. What do you think? Did she hit the nail on the head, or was it just political theater? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into California's political landscape.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.